What's up, YouTube? Today I'm just going to do a quick video here. I have the new Galileo 2 extruder kit. As you can see here, I'm going to do the standalone version. I'm currently running a Voron afterburner, and I believe I'm going to skip stealth burner at this time, so this will give me kind of some options to switch back and forth more easily if I decide to do so. Just got the items printed here off the GitHub. I just did them all in one color here. I kind of skipped ahead, did this before I started the video. We just got two inserts in the middle, the one right here, and the one right here. So a total of 4. Seems to be a pretty simple build here. We're just going through the manual. Yeah, we'll just skip through this stuff. Gives you some info here. I believe all this description stuff is the same between both manuals. There's one for this and the one for the Galileo 2, which is meant to replace the Clockwork 2. Got your default config you can add here to your clipper. We're missing a diagram for that. This is a reference what's included in your kit, basically. I already kind of had a look at this yesterday. All the baggies here are labeled. So that one actually came with 3 bearings. I already started it, but there's actually a whole nother set here with 3 in it. And basically, this gear doesn't have a bearing in it when you get it, so you just squeeze it inside there with your fingers. Should take a little bit of a force, and then you're going to stick it on this piece with the bearing side down, is the way I'm understanding it. So you're going to have all 3 on your shaft here. So we just go through the guide. It wants you to do the heat certs first. Here you see we're talking about putting those bearings in there. With the whole second set appears to come in the kit. I don't know if you'd ever need them, but they're there, I suppose. Then you kind of see, based on this picture here, it doesn't really talk about it, but I chose, based on the photo, it looks to make more sense to have the bearing towards the metal as opposed to that with the bearing facing out, because it's going to run inside the cover piece here. Like that. So I believe this is still technically beta, but these parts weren't coming injection molded before. It does appear to be injection molded now. So currently, I would just stick in there, give it a little test. It's not real tight or anything there. It does recommend here to put a pea-sized blob of grease on the bottom flat surface. I'm going to use some multi-purpose synthetic grease I got here from Worth, which I believe it gives you the specs on this online. It's similar to the PTFE Super Lube grease, and you can kind of see it's not like super heavy or anything. It's kind of more like a Vaseline, I would guess you would say. This has been sitting a minute. I'm just going to kind of mix it up a little bit better. It doesn't specify the actual grease. You can probably use a whole lot of different things here. It's not a super needed thing. I just wouldn't use anything too light, because more than likely it's going to ooze out on you once this thing's been running and it gets some heat in it. I'm going to take about that much. And I'm just going to stick it in here. I'm going to spread it around a little. You can spread most of it probably just by running the gear, but I'm going to do it that way. And then I'm going to wash my fingers off real quick before I continue on. Alright, we're back. So it advised you to take this, put it in that carrier housing there. Originally they wanted you to run this in with the drill. I don't think it's no longer needed. There doesn't seem to be any issues with the design or anything. You can kind of hear the grease there. Just running it through. Looks to be evenly kind of coated on everything now. Alright, so I'm going to set that right there for now. Looks like we're looking for this ECAS piece. Oops. Got a couple pins in there. And we got these pieces. The rubber donut is not used. Oops, drop that. So, take off the rubber piece. But this piece came with it. I can't even tell what that is, or if that's needed. There we go. So that little black piece pops back in there. That's going to go in here. There's two versions of this to print. One is set up for the tube to just press fit in there, whereas this piece has like the locking ring in there. I guess it goes in there. That's our release piece. It's easy to drop that one. So can't get it in there off of that, so let's try to put it in. Okay. And that's not too easy either. It's pretty tight. Okay. With a little force, it went in there pretty snug. Let's try to put this piece in. Little blue piece. Okay, pop that sucker in. You can see it's kind of spring loaded. Alright, I'm going to roll back here just a bit in the manual. Alright. Take the motor here. And take the other piece we printed here. Oops. I don't know if that's in order there. Yeah, okay. So it didn't show you. Take the motor. Gonna feed it through here. Okay, there we go. Seems to be easiest to push the motor into the hole while holding the shaft there. And line it up. Line the edge with the screw hole there. This piece. Let me just yep, the manual appears to be missing the one page. Okay. The only thing I'm not sure about is this piece has another hole on the one side. So it goes out, it looks like. But where so if you look here, that little hole, it looks to be a little extra for the heat cert. And if you put it on like that, it's flat here, and on the corner it lines up. It lines up everywhere there. So we're going to go with that. And we're going to take our motor here. This can be, I guess you can position this motor two different directions. So you can go that way, or it would rotate down, so you could spin it 180. So with it flat, the bottom of the mount there, it's going to be going to the, from behind it, it'd be like the 1 o'clock position, which I guess should work fine. I don't know what's going to be better to point it for wiring. I think I'm going to go down. I'm going to try that way. So it's going to be from the back side. It would be the 4 o'clock. Kind of got it set here loosely. Grab the, everything's labeled nicely here. Take a couple of these M3 by 20s. Oops, they're everywhere. Feed them through the front of this. Screws are going to go all the way through. Bear with me a moment while I go get the other size I need that I left by the printer. Alright, we're back. Started tightening them up a little bit there. So basically everything just sandwiches together. Leave them loose. There's about, I don't know, a millimeter or so of kind of play. Evenly tighten them up a little bit. Once you're tight, your bolts will be through a little bit. The one side's through a little bit more than the other. Don't know if that was by design. Make those snug. Don't want to go too crazy. It's a pretty small bolt to strip that motor out. That's pretty hard to turn like that already. Try this little thumb wheel. Feel like you should be able to turn that. I'm going to loosen this up. Jeez. There we go. Not sure if it's just hard to turn by hand because it's a smooth shaft there. No, it doesn't feel that great. Once you start to get tight. Real easy to turn now. We go little by little. You know what? Maybe I'm not even supposed to tighten those yet. It does seem like there was a little bit of like alignment here that was putting tension on it. So the next step is like assembling the front with the bearing, so let's try that. So we're going to slide it on the one side like the picture. It's pretty hard to do and put it on straight. There we go. It should be quite snug. That bearing actually doesn't touch the housing or anything there. Where's the... got the gear with some very little screws in that package, so don't drop it. So it gives you two. Apparently one of the grub screws is for, I guess, later if you try more than one different thing. Make sure you get the groove facing the direction it says. The grub screw, put it on your Allen key. Start it on there. You'll start to notice it once the Loctite starts to hit the threads there. So I'm going to go tight and then loosen it here. I'm going to turn the slot to line that up. We'll put our other bearing on. If you look there, you can push it in too far. And then it wants you to put the cover on. Yeah. So a little bit lacking on there. So I'm going to have to move that gear out a little bit, I think, to line up to the filament path a little better. There is a shim washer. Don't know if that's required for this one or the other version for this Galileo 2. That's it for the parts. Yeah. Said there should be some movement in the shaft, which there isn't. Okay. So the bearing does appear to fit tight into the front housing. That kind of snap fits in there. You can still see it's kind of in a little far. So less than ideal. Let me give it a little more tightening on those rear screws. And I'm going to put this thumb piece on here. Making sure I can turn it. I can. So put the 2 in. Look at that. That one screws right in. Easily. So, what's the problem? Let me go grab some different ones. M3x8. Alright, we're back. It's hard to do with the short screw in here. That one screws right in. So does that one. So let's put our thing back together. Like the coloring of that hardware as well is different. It's like shiny. Yep. Okay. So everything's snug. That's still in there a little deeper than I would like it to be. And turn it by hand. I'm sure there's a little bit of a break-in period. Alright, and the last part's going to be this, what are we calling that? Hinge. Okay, I need the pin. I always like to use a little ruler like that. And apparently I thought the 3 extras. There's not 3 extras. So I gotta take one of those. Insert it into the latch piece. I guess feed the pin in there. That's gonna bottom out. Just push her all the way in. Test the bearing. It spins okay. Feed it in there. Take one of our M3x20s. Put it in that last hole. It's going to go through the face, through the latch, to that last heat cert in there. Got that snug. And then we got our last heat cert. It's going to be the tensioning screw. Apparently the knob's optional. I think it'll look weird with no knob. I may, if you wanted to help use it for maybe feeding your filament, which is not really supposed to be done unless the motor is disabled kind of deal. You could maybe design a bigger one. Take our tensioner. You can see that. You can see the spring tension. It's firm but not hard. Alright, YouTube. Back after a little bit of sleep and everything. So I took this all the way apart again, and I was verifying some stuff. You see now, I do have a play in and out. So I believe that there was a gear misalignment here. So when you pull your printed parts off of there, before you put this piece on and this that I'm showing on the PDF there, so after you put the gear, the 3-piece gear with the shaft into the planetary there, just make sure that it spins nice and free, several revolutions without like any force. I ended up just taking it out and kind of putting it back on. Make sure you don't have to like twist it a whole bunch to get it lined up or anything like that. Once I put that back on, I verified this printed part piece. It does only kind of align, you'll see with the shape, it only aligns one way, and then the grooves here into the motor that are cut in there for a nice flush fit. So I put that back on and ended up doing it different here. I put the bearing into this front piece here before I screwed it back on. So I stuck it all the way in the hole, pushed it flush all the way, tightened down our 2 screws. So currently we got the play that they mentioned, should jiggle a little bit, and turns pretty easily here. I don't need the knob. So that looks good. Let's just see. I'm going to wait to give it like the final crank before I get the rest of it on. And I'm going to do it this way. Put the bearing in here. So that would just go on like that. And take the drive gear with the groove going forward. Put it on there. And I'm going to slide it to the flat spot on the shaft facing out of the hole here so you can get to it. And then I saw the designer kind of talking about it on the G2E version, not the standalone. They said the best way to align it, push the shaft in with a slight pressure and the gear slight pressure, so they're both kind of the full extent of their movement. And then you would be able to tighten that grub screw. Snug that down, make sure there's Loctite on it. My current kit had some Loctite on it, but now, let's see, get some light there. So you can see it'll kind of self-center when the filament's in there. Looks lined up now, should be good to go. That looks pretty good to me. Just want to make sure that obviously when that's in there, it's not in a weird position of the travel to where it's gonna kind of ride on inside or outside of the so where that like shaft carriage piece is gonna cause a problem. I just adjusted it a little bit here. So it's just kind of got a little plus or minus on the whole filament path here. So right there, it's perfectly on each side of the groove there. Tighten that down. Put this front cover back on with the bearing already in it. Try to put that on as straight as possible. We still have our little bit of play in and out. Put the 2 screws in, and again, whatever they gave me in an LDO kit for these 3x8s, I believe it was, they were not right. Okay, tighten those down. We still have our play in and out. Final tightening of these outer ones. Put my knob back on. Oh yeah. Turns super easy now. Very, very easy. Let's see. Just a little bit of rotation on the edge of the gear there. Slight pressure and it'll spin. Feel much better about that now. I'll put this arm back on. Put our screw back through there. Got that snug down. Okay, I would say don't snug that down too much. Because it's going to affect our tension there. Alrighty. Looks like we're finished now. Everything's good to go. At this point I got to build the dragon burner that I'm going to try first. This is going to use my understanding, Orbiter 2 mounting pattern. I got to crimp a new connector on here since I don't have a tool board or anything. No PCB yet. And I'll make a separate video for that in case anyone wants to see it. But that's my notes here. Maybe this will help somebody out. I guess there was just some misalignment that wasn't quite right with the 3 gears and the planetary in there. That was the issue. So it wasn't too difficult to take back apart once you've already done it. Got a total of 5 screws here, and everything just kind of pushes together.